this is Mary Mattingly with the Big Rapids Pioneer, and today we are here in Idlewild with Mr. John Meeks. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Meeks is here to talk with us. We're remembering, it's the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we're here to talk about Mr. Meeks' experiences growing up before the civil rights movement took hold and how that movement still impacts us today. And you told me last week, you said you were born in one of the two counties where Jim Crow laws were still?
The Pulaski County and Alexander County is the last two counties at the southern portion of the state, and the Mason-Dixon line cut those two counties off. So those two counties had the same laws that the 13 southern states had.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like then growing up with those laws?
Growing up with those laws, actually, it was nothing that you actually paid attention to. That was a custom. No one paid any attention. No one thought in terms of being separated. Mm-hmm. It just never crossed your mind. Mm-hmm. The whites were separated from the blacks. The schools had black school on one side of the street, white school on the other side. The train stations had signs posted: white water fountain, blacks water fountain. Blacks were not allowed to eat in the restaurant there. They could purchase the food and take it out to eat it. And that went on clear up until approximately the mid-60s, before things changed.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you got a job in Detroit. You moved from Illinois to Detroit?
I moved from Illinois to Ohio first.
Okay.
And I attended Central State University there for 4 years. And after I received my degree there in education, I moved to Detroit. And I lived there 4 years before I was able to get a job, because there was vestiges of segregation still there, you know, undercurrent closet segregation. When I was assigned to Washington Trade School, the first day that I was there, they had teachers meeting in the library. I walked in and sat down at a table where 3 of the white teachers were sitting. The moment I sit down, the 3 got up and moved to another table. But there was one guy there, saw what happened, and he walked over, I guess, to keep me from feeling an outcast. So he walked over and patted me on the back of the hand and said everything would be okay. And before the day was over, he invited me to his home for dinner that evening, because he was he could see that I was sort of kind of beaten down by that type of action. And that action went on almost for a year. I would walk in a teacher's lounge. There would be 10 or 15 teachers in there. When I walked in, they'd get up and walk out.
Wow.
Because I was the first black was ever assigned to that school. There'd never been a black teacher there before.
Right, but you still taught in the schools then, so obviously that didn't keep you from doing what you wanted to do.
I ignored all of that. You know? Well, I was accustomed to it, but growing up in Southern Illinois, you know, segregation wasn't anything new to me.
So how old were you then that the civil rights movement really started to take hold in the 50s?
When that took place, I guess I was probably 35 years old.
Okay.
When that took place, the civil rights movement.
So what demonstrations or policy changes do you remember?
Well, I remember the changes were noted all over. The Book Cadillac Hotel had never allowed blacks to have social events there. Well, that was one of the things that happened after the movement started to have equal accommodations. I followed Dr. King's movement for many years, and it was one of the things that I was very proud of. I liked his philosophy of nonviolence, because that's basically what I believe in. I believe in nonviolence. I think that things can be negotiated, arbitrated, settle problems without violence. The impact that it had on my life was that I felt it was worth any sacrifice whatever you had to do to promote integration and to have equal rights for everyone. I think 1967 is it's usually picked as the target date when things really changed. 64 to 67 was a rough period in the country, because there was so many outbreaks of violence and riots and destruction of cities. In 1967, the whole east side of Detroit was almost burned down. You know, all of the businesses and everything. And that was one of the things. I was in business, in the dry cleaning business during that time, and I had several stores, but they were all protected. And during meetings to sort of kind of get this thing settled and down, we had some individuals there that was eager for a fight. But John Meeks, no, I figure you're supposed to think your way out of the situation rather than to fight your way out of it.
So what do you think then is the impact of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech and even the civil rights movement still today?
Still today, there are a lot of people today that agrees with him 100%, but there also is an element that still believe in the violent tactics to achieve a goal. But the majority of the people today, people are tired of fighting. You know, they're tired of it. And now with cool heads and good minds, you can sit down and work your way through whatever the disagreement is, or whatever the problem is. To me, you don't have a problem if you don't have a solution.
Right.
Well, my solution to problems is peaceful solution, not through violence. Violence, everybody loses. The winner even lost.